Hi there guys, how are you all doing? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and welcome back. So today, the day that I am recording this video, is July 16th, 2018, which means it's my birthday. That's right, July 16th is my birthday. It's a Monday. Oh my goodness, 2018, I can't believe it. It feels so crazy to be turning 24? And so, of course, to celebrate my birthday, it almost feels like Nintendo created a game just for me, just for my birthday, because just a few days ago, on July 13th, this crazy bad boy released for the Nintendo Switch, Octopath Traveler, which, as I tweeted a couple of days ago, for some reason, I still want to, by default, call the game Project Octopath. Like, I can't stop thinking Project Octopath, Project. And it's like, nah, man, they removed Project. It's just Octopath Traveler. I gotta beat it into my brain. And so what I wanted to do on today's video is something that, surprisingly, I don't really do often enough, and kind of just talk and ramble on for a little bit to you guys about my thoughts and impressions on a brand new game. Now, of course, I didn't get this for review. I haven't really ever worked with Nintendo in a review capacity. I do have some connections and stuff for some other things. That's how I got to actually go to the Nintendo Switch event back in January 2017, but nothing on the review side. So sadly, those guys, they're not into sending me any review copies and stuff, and that's okay. So that's why I'm not really treating this as a full review. I didn't get a chance to play the game before it launched. I had to just pick it up on launch day through Amazon, and now it's been a few days. I've put a good amount of time into the game on my fairly busy schedule, and I mean, I'm just so enamored by this title. I think that's why I wanted to just make an impressions video and really just kind of discuss my thoughts on the game. I mean, despite being a gaming and a Nintendo-focused channel, I really don't do that often enough, which is too bad. So I felt this was a game that I am just so in love with right now, I needed to talk about it. So, Octopath Traveler, man, this game. I mean, obviously you guys can already tell, I basically already said this. I love this game. I mean, I am loving this game more than I ever could have anticipated to, and I was already pretty excited and hyped for the game, without question. You know, it's being an RPG and a very in-depth, lengthy, kind of JRPG sort of experience. It's kind of a game that I don't normally get too excited about. I came to a realization about 6 or 7 years ago that most JRPGs that come out, they're just too much for me. There's too much going on, and there's too many little microsystems with all of the, you know, there's 1,000 shops in every one that you go to, and there's hundreds of different items to buy that are all within different categories, and if you can micromanage all of the different items in a specific way to a specific class within your specific party, and you do this, that, and XYZ, and you spend half of your time in menus, you can achieve some really crazy and incredible things and really dissect all the minutia of 100 ways to play through a JRPG. And while I think that's awesome, and I'm very impressed by people who can do that, even though I feel like I'm a pretty smart guy, that's just never worked for me, man. I've never been too into that stuff. I don't have the time to do it or the patience. I like games that allow me to have a little bit more free-form gameplay. Also, a lot of times the stories can be so drawn out and so melodramatic that sometimes it also keeps me from getting too invested in them, not to mention that they're always like hundreds of hours long, and I just don't have that time in my life to play games like that typically. The Xenoblade games are incredible. I've put so many hours into all 3 Xenoblade games, and I do love those. Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube was a JRPG I spent a long time with. The Mass Effect games aren't JRPGs, but they are RPGs that I invested into as well. And honestly, that's probably just about it as far as myself. But Octopath was exciting for 2 reasons. One is the incredible art and visual style. Obviously using that like 3D, but also like 2D, 16-bit sprite-based like retro sort of feel was so cool. I mean, it automatically just catches your eye in a way that most other games and graphic styles don't. So it's not about, oh my god, it has beautiful graphics and just good graphics make me excited. It's the design, it's the art direction, it's the style that they chose that is so crazy. And then on top of that, it is just beautiful. I mean, it is an excellent graphics engine as well. So the art style and that retro throwback is definitely something that was appealing to me. And then the simple fact that it was a very high-profile, exclusive, third-party exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, you know? I mean, the more third-party exclusive Nintendo content we see, the better, I think. And I've always enjoyed third-party exclusive Nintendo stuff like Bayonetta 2 or Wonderful 101 and myriad other games like that. And so I was like, this is going to be a really cool game. I know it's going to be quality. It's going to be very RPG heavy, but I have to give it a shot because I think it's going to be something really special. And it's just turned out to be so much better than I ever could have hoped. And it's a little bit hard for me to nail down why, but I think beyond just the cool art direction and graphical style, honestly, it's kind of the presentation and the gameplay. What I love about the presentation is that they didn't take it too far. And what I mean when I say they didn't take it too far is it could have been easy for them to, when story was happening and character dynamic and dialogue between them was happening, you know, in situations that are actually moving the story forward, they don't do something obvious and cut to like a CG kind of cutscene to tell the story. They could also have even done something where, like, the kind of hand-drawn art style that's like on the cover and all of the promotional art for the game, they could have even done like a comic book strip sort of like panels, you know, flashing panels using that same art style to tell the story too. And like, I mean, that stuff would have been fine, but what I love about this game is they don't do that, and they keep you always immersed in what you're seeing and playing on screen. You're always, at least as far as what I've seen 9 hours into the game, you're always in the same graphical plane that you are when you're playing the game. And the characters just have dialogue and text boxes, sometimes fully voiced, sometimes not, and that's how the story is told to you and how the characters interact with each other. And I like that because it keeps it like, it keeps that, you know, old school like Super Nintendo RPG feel throughout the entire experience, even when the characters are talking to each other. And I'm just a huge fan of that. And going into the game, if somebody would have told me that's how it would have worked, I might have said, oh man, it would be cool if they did like flashier cutscenes for the story. But now that I've spent 8 or 9 hours in the game, I'm actually loving the fact that they're not doing that. It's like, yes, keep me here. Keep me in 16-bit, man. I want to feel like I'm playing a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo game as a kid. I don't need you to do any flashy 2018 stuff. I don't need CG cutscenes and graphics. I just want the good old 16-bit stuff. I can't get enough of it. Now, while there are 1 or 2 things that aren't totally perfect and are kind of criticisms I have about the game, before I get into that, I do want to state why the gameplay, I think, is so good. And honestly, I think it's because I don't play enough games that are true turn-based kinds of games, so that when a really good turn-based battle system comes along like what this game does, it really surprises me and it really captures me. I feel like they could have gotten trapped in making this a really complex, hardcore, over-the-top turn-based RPG system. And as far as I can tell, with my limited experience in turn-based games, that's not what they've done. And I like that. I feel like they made sure to give a pretty gentle barrier of entry for people coming into this game, but there's also a lot of mechanics that do add more elements of strategy and a lot more depth to the combat, especially as you continue to go and you learn new moves and you understand how you can boost all of your attacks using the L and R buttons, which it took me actually a little bit to even to realize that. And I was like, oh my god, I've been missing this whole time, and it's completely changed how I'm playing this game right now. For myself, I also have 3 party members now, and of course with any RPG, no matter how hardcore it is or isn't, your party is going to determine how you experience the game and how the story plays out and what the combat's like. And of course, to no surprise, the more party members I'm acquiring, the more depth there is to the battle system, and the more fun it is to kind of strategize who's going to use what attack moves or defense moves or special moves or healing moves at what time, you know, based on what enemies we're fighting and how many enemies we're fighting. And I'm just so in love with that right now. And I get it that for like RPG aficionados, this is just like the obvious stuff. This is the everyday normal stuff. And so too, you're probably like, that's not special at all. That's just a game. And I get it, but my whole preface with this video is that I just don't play a lot of RPGs and I don't experience turn-based enough. So when a system comes along that I like this much, it really stands out and I really enjoying it. I enjoy it. This is a different kind of experience than I'm usually playing when I'm playing video games for me. Now, the Fire Emblem games are the other series that are turn-based and strategy-based that I love. So what I also like this is it kind of just makes me feel like I'm sort of playing a Fire Emblem game. I'm just not also working on a grid system, and it's not about where the proximity of my character to the enemy characters are or to other ally characters are. There's none of that. You're just, you know, bad guys, good guys, and they just fight turn-based kind of thing. But I love it. I like seeing the top of the screen will show you who's next in what order, and certain moves or special abilities, or if you break the enemy's shield defense, it moves the order that you and your allies are able to attack and use their moves. And I'm just, God, I just love it so much. It's like really, really clever. It's so well done. Between the boost ability, between the party system, between the ability to change the order of events and attacks and defenses you're going to have, I'm just so in love with this. The defense, like the shield break or whatever that is called, where your enemies have a certain amount of shield defense, and if you use the right weapons that they're vulnerable to and the right attacks that they're vulnerable to, you can break those down, and then you incapacitate them, and then they can't attack or defend for turns, and that opens them up to take more damage. It's just so incredible. And I know for a lot of you guys, again, you're just like, oh, this is not that special, it's just normal. But it's not normal to me, and so I'm just loving how this battle system is, man. It is so freaking cool. If there's any one main criticism I have about this game, it is a pretty big criticism, and for a lot of other games, it would outright ruin the entire experience. And it's obviously a testament to Octopath that it isn't ruining the experience. But one thing this game does that I really don't like is random battles. I can't stand random battles in games, and there have been a couple of RPGs I've even tried over the years and decades, and when I've discovered they had random battles, it really wasn't too long before I just gave up. I can't stand that. I hate the randomness. I don't like feeling like I'm not in control of what I'm doing, because I know that every like 4 to 10 seconds of walking, I'm just gonna randomly engage in battle. And I mean, I just spent a couple of minutes talking about why I love the battle system and raving about it, so I enjoy the fights, but I would like it if it just does what a lot of other RPGs do, where you can at least see the enemies on screen, and you can engage in battle how and when you want to, and as often as you want to. Because I know how and when I want to grind. I'm happy to grind in games like this. I actually love grinding. But there are times where maybe I don't want to grind, and I just want to go from A to B because that's what the story is telling me to do. But I know if I go from A to B, it's going to take me 10 minutes, and I'm going to come across 40 different random battles, and maybe I don't want to do 40 different random battles. And so I don't really know why that's a thing in any RPG, and I'm sorry to those of you out there that love it, but I don't know why anyone even likes it. I don't see the appeal to random battles and the game just like plucking you out of the fun you're having and saying, nope, you're doing this now because we said, just because invisible enemies are everywhere and you can't avoid them. It doesn't click with my brain, and I don't love it. But I do have to still say, this game is so good and the battle system is so good that it is not ruining my experience. It's more of a nuisance at this point, but a nuisance that I seem able to cope with. And it's not preventing me from just wanting to play this game every waking moment. Honestly, making this video is hard because I'm not playing the game right now. And I'm thinking about it every waking moment. Yesterday, my girlfriend and I went out to a movie, then we met some friends for food and drinks afterwards. So I was out of the house for about 4 or 5 hours, and the whole time I was like, man, I really want to be playing that Octopath. You guys are great and all, but I really want to be playing Octopath. I also think the map that the game uses is a little bit weird. It's strange that it's not completely clear-cut where your character is, where you're going, where you're facing, what the paths look like. It's very, like, broad. It's just, like, it looks like a Middle-earth map, so it's very pretty looking with its art. And there is, like, as you're in the little areas that are highlighted as, like, this is the area you're in, it'll show that you're near that area. So you'll have, like, a vague idea of where you are in the map, but it doesn't really help you traverse where you're going. It basically lets you know, do you need to go left, up, down, or right? That's all the map does. And while that's not terrible, and it's definitely better than nothing, I would have liked something a little bit more immersive and thorough, like most maps in games like this that are big, sprawling worlds. It would be nice if it was a little more obvious what you're doing and where you're going and what paths are available to you. Not game-breaking. That's more of like a minor complaint than something more severe like the random battles thing. Overall, it's fine, and I just like having access to a map. And I don't really know that I have that many other complaints, man. I mean, some of the battles, the boss battles, are actually pretty hard. But I love the level up system, and I love the simplicity of how the bar shows you what you're leveling at. And as you have different characters at different levels, everyone gets the same amount of, like, experience points, but the bars move at different lengths because of how far each individual character has to go to level up. And, I mean, I do love how the story seems to be playing out with all the different relatable characters. 8 playable characters, of course, 8 stories. And I love how you pick one person's story to start, but then you travel from town to town where each new main character is, And again, I only have acquired 2 new party members, but you talk to them, you get their backstory, and then you join them on their quest, complete their quest, and then they're a part of your party. And so you basically are increasing your party and getting to know the main quest and plight of each character as they join your party. And that is also so cool to me, especially because the way the story is delivered isn't a bunch of flashy CG cutscenes, and it doesn't really take a long time to learn it. And it doesn't keep you away from playing the game for too long. It's usually a couple of minutes at a time, and then you're back to playing as they're part of your party. I mean, I'm gushing about this game, if you guys can't tell, because I'm not a huge RPG guy, but this game is like converting me, man. Like, the Xenoblade games and Octopath are the RPGs that are making me realize there might be something more to this genre than I ever realized before. And now, to be fair, while I am enjoying this so much, and I am opening my mind to RPGs, I'm not like gonna suddenly start picking up every RPG and playing them, because the reality of the situation is I just don't have that time in my life. I'm really busy outside of doing YouTube and outside of just playing games in my free time, you know, like I've talked about that before. So it's hard for me to go from, you know, a 100-hour game to another 100-hour game to another 100-hour game. I can't do that, man. I like some dumb, shorter experiences, and I like stuff like a Doom. I like stuff like a Detroit Become Human. You know, you can go through in like 8 to 10 hours and complete it and just have fun with it and replay it. I like that stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, these are just my thoughts. This is Rob's opinion on Octopath Traveler, a genre I don't normally spend too much time on, but oh my goodness, this game is so incredible. And there's probably a lot more I could talk about, but I don't want to make this any more of a review. It's already a pretty long video, I'm sure, as far as an impressions video goes. But yeah, those are my thoughts, man. I'm really hoping a lot of you guys out there are playing this game or are interested in this game and keeping your mind open to it if you haven't picked it up. If you have a Switch and you like games anywhere near like this, you've got to play this game. I expect really strong sales. The reviews have been very positive. Everyone I know who's playing it is loving it. It's a special game. This is a special release, I feel. And like I said, 3 days before my birthday, so I think that's pretty cool. I'm kind of taking this and adopting it as my own personal birthday gift from Nintendo and from Square to have Octopath released like on the same weekend as my birthday. That was pretty sweet. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say right now. I mean, at the end of the day, Octopath Traveler is incredible. It's converting me to RPGs. It is capturing, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't get my brain away from this game. And I got to go back to work tomorrow for the next week, and I know every day I'm at work, I'm going to be thinking about this game. It is that good. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're playing this game, what do you think? If you're not playing it, is it because you just haven't picked it up yet? Or because you're just not interested? And does my video help convince you to maybe check it out and give it a shot or rent it or something? Let me know what you guys think, man. Octopath Traveler is an amazing Nintendo Switch game. Very thankful for its release. And that's going to be it for me today. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.